Hello, this is Gio. Hey, you are looking at my Melnor thumb-controlled watering nozzle, and this is one of the better ones that I've owned, and this one actually does 8 different patterns, and it's pretty rugged. It's a heavy-duty version, but it does sometimes get clogged up, especially after a lot of use. Maybe some calcium buildup or debris gets stuck in the nozzle, and it does need periodic cleaning. But one thing about these things, it's a little bit difficult to figure out how to open these things up. And so that's what I'm going to show you today. So depending on the model you own, you will first need to remove a screw that's kind of in the middle of the spray hose part. So in my case, it's actually a little screen that I have to remove, and I'm going to be using some pliers and just twisting that counterclockwise. If you have a screw, just remove the screw. And so in my case, that screen comes in 3 parts, basically a black retention screw, a red screen, and then a white screen that you see here. So now I could actually remove the screw holding down most of the pattern screens, as you can see here. Again, depending on your model, you may have already removed the retaining screw. And now you should be able to physically remove the pattern head, perhaps by jiggling it a little bit as you kind of pull it out. Now as you do this, a spring may actually pop out that has a little tip to it. Now don't lose that. You'll need to replace it when you reassemble everything. Here I show you where it comes from. It basically fits into this little round slot here, and as the head turns, this is what makes that little clicking sound. So at this point you may want to inspect a couple of O-ring washers. One is on the pattern head itself, as you can see here. The other one is on the main kind of thumb controlled nozzle portion, as you see here. Now if these don't look like they're in good shape, you may need to remove them and find replacements. So next you want to do is remove the red ring around the pattern head. Now you remove this by rotating it counterclockwise, but you do want to make note of where it's located kind of with respect to the different patterns. So kind of look at the different holes and see the printing up on top so you can remember generally the alignment of the ring. And from there you should just be able to take out the little pattern screens from its retention ring. Now you want to make note of a little notch up on top that fits into the retention ring, so it'll only go back in one way. So the last things to remove is the metal screen on this pattern head itself, and there is a little rubber gasket underneath that you could also remove and inspect as needed. And now it's just a matter of taking all these parts and rinsing them off and clean them as best you can. And with all the parts cleaned up, now it's time to reassemble. First, take your little rubber gasket and replace it on the pattern head. Next, take your metal screen and fit it back over the rubber seal. You may need to rotate it until it fits properly over the little pattern nozzles. Next, while holding everything in place, you want to replace the pattern head into its little retention ring. Now, remember the notch, it only goes in one way. And now to replace the red retention ring. Now it should only go in one way, but you do want to make note of the labels and which nozzle it belongs to. So just replace it and tighten it clockwise. Don't forget to replace the O-ring to the pattern head. And now to just reinstall the pattern head onto the nozzle itself. Now don't forget about the little spring with that little tip. You do need to replace that or you won't hear the clicking sounds when you rotate the head. And so you may need to insert the head a certain way so that little spring kind of engages into those little notches, and then it should just kind of be able to be rotated by hand. Now replace the screw. And then in my case, the retention screen. Again, rotated clockwise. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit that like button at the bottom of the screen, and even consider subscribing to my channel. I have many more videos to come. Bye-bye.